7 motorcycle questions. Yo, what is up everybody? It's the Moto John. We're back out on the streets of Philly today. A little bit of a hot one. But if you're tuning in, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit us with a like, drop a comment down below. First off, I just wanted to start this one off by giving a big thank you to everybody watching out there. Recently rolled over 100 subscribers on the channel, so that's exciting. Got the custom URL all set up. Thanks to everybody that tunes in. Thanks to everybody that comments. That was one of my goals with this. It was to always kind of engage with people, other riders, talk about motorcycles, different ideas and thoughts, and just get everybody's feedback on motorcycles and the industry. So thanks again for everybody tuning in. Always appreciate that. Hitting 100 subscribers, so that's a kind of a cool little milestone there. So today we're talking through 7 motorcycle questions. I was called out by QU13T MAN Rides. You saw him in one of my last videos. He called me out to answer 7 motorcycle questions. After we run through those 7 questions, we're going to call out a few others that I have in mind as well to answer these 7 questions. So to be honest, when he first asked me, I'm not usually into like the nomination, the challenge type things, but it was my buddy QU13T MAN Rides. It's about motorcycles, so obviously I was interested in that. So we're going to run through these 7 questions. Also give you guys out there a little bit of a chance to learn a little bit more about me specifically, some of my thoughts and different things about motorcycles and all that good stuff. So I got these questions taped down to the tank. Hopefully it hangs on there as we cruise through Philly and answer these 7 questions. So the first question is, what inspired you to buy your first motorcycle? So you probably heard me mention before, I come from a family of riders my whole entire life. They've always had all different kinds of motorcycles, specifically Harleys. And growing up, I was just always around it, always interested in it when I was younger, through my teenage years, but for some reason had never got my license, never really rode for some reason. You know, eventually move away, go to college, don't really even have any money anyways. And it was just something I always wanted to do, but just never had. So then eventually, as I got older, about 29, had a real job, finally had money, stuff like that. Finally took the class, got my license, and got my first bike. And my first bike was not the Sportster. That's actually a video we're gonna make a little later on down the road, talking about what's your first bike and why, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, what inspired me was I was always around it, grew up around it, loved the simple mechanical nature of motorcycles, always wanted one. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to kind of be in a position to finally get one. Next question is favorite destination. This is a quick, simple one. Any coffee shop. You guys have already seen me flying around city, 2 different coffee shops, stuff like that. I'm out there all the time, posting some of those pictures on Instagram. Make sure you go check us out over there at the Moto John. But yeah, I would say my favorite destination, any coffee shop. Pull up, grab a drink, kind of relax, sit there, drink your coffee, stare at your bike. Favorite destination, definitely a coffee shop. Next question. Any words of wisdom for new riders? I talked a little bit about this, about new riders in the city, an old video. Make sure you go check that out. But I would just say you gotta practice the skills. Like, look at that person, literally just kind of cut me off for no reason. I'm not really moving that fast, but. So new riders, you gotta practice your skills. You gotta practice your emergency skills. You gotta practice your emergency braking and swerving. You gotta practice your clutch and throttle control. Get yourself out in a big open space to practice those skills. and then apply those skills in your riding. So get comfortable with those in an open space, then find some simple roads and routes that you can ride and practice and apply those skills. Advice for new riders: practice, practice, practice. You got to get comfortable with the skills to be safe and effectively navigate while you're riding. So advice for new riders, like I said, practice, practice, practice. Always be practicing those skills. Even once you get comfortable with those skills, every now and then still get back into a lot, set up some cones, practice those skills non-stop, because it's all about building up the muscle memory so your body just naturally does what it's supposed to do when you get into certain scenarios. Next question is, any planned destination rides? Well, not anything big coming up. I am trying to get something planned over to Gettysburg. That would be cool. It's not set in stone yet, but that's one that I would like to do. I would also like to go down to Shenandoah National Forest. Those are not planned. They are kind of in the works, a little bit in the back of my mind at least. I think Gettysburg might be more likely than Shenandoah this year at least, but yeah, planned destinations ride Gettysburg potentially. Alright, little detour because my paper almost just flew off. Had to pull over and retape it. No biggie. Next question is, which type of riding do I prefer? And examples of that, like group riding, solo riding, you know, straight highway riding, you know, twists and turns, different stuff like that. I'm definitely a little bit more of a loner. I like to kind of be out there by myself. You know, I don't mind being out there by myself riding, but I also like having at least a couple people to ride with, like 2 or 3 people. Not necessarily into the huge group thing, it's just a lot of people to account for, you know, with the way that they're moving and stuff like that. I think a little bit of mix and twisties with like 2 or 3 people is pretty cool. If anybody's wondering where we are in Philly right now, we're kind of down in the Old City, Society Hill area. These homes are just amazing down here. Very old, like brick style houses. Super nice. Next question is, what is your favorite trip to take? Day trip, weekend trip, and longer? Currently, I mean, with COVID lockdowns and everything, you don't really know like what's open, what's not open. I do like day trips. Go out a couple hours, come back in a couple hours, find a little destination, hang out there for a second, take some pictures, you know, just different stuff like that. I did take that one longer road trip earlier this year that you guys saw, talking about can the Sportster do long distance. Make sure you go back into my videos and check that out. I think you guys will like it. But yeah, I like a day trip, you know, go out, see something, eat somewhere, come back in. But I definitely want to get into some longer stuff, so hopefully get into some longer rides here coming up soon. So the next question is, the biggest lesson that motorcycling has taught me. I think the biggest lesson that motorcycling has taught me is just to be, how do I put it? To be okay with just being out there by yourself. When you think you get out there being alone or whatever, you're just riding by yourself. Like I said, you're not always riding by yourself, but it just teaches you. It's just you and the bike. You're out there riding. If anything goes wrong, you got to troubleshoot yourself. If you get lost, you got to figure it out yourself. So it just really kind of teaches you independence. It really teaches you awareness. Like I always say, you got to be hyper aware, hyper focused. It just kind of teaches you that and builds up a lot of confidence that translate into other daily activities or daily type things. It's like, if you can operate this piece of machinery successfully in any environment really, but even like a crazy environment like the city. And it lets you know that you can focus independently and apply that to other things in your life. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest things motorcycling has taught me. All right, so that's gonna wrap up the 7 questions from Quiet Man Rides. But don't turn away just yet. I was actually also called out by Scooterwolf Motovlogs to answer a question. So I wanted to do both those questions in one video. So we got a bonus 8th question, and that question is, how has the pandemic changed your motorcycle riding? So I actually kind of addressed this question in another video as well, talking about how my motorcycle actually helped me through the pandemic. So make sure you go check that out, how my motorcycle helped me through the pandemic. That was all about mental health awareness, motorcycle safety months, all kind of combine that, to just make sure you go back and check that video out. But that video in a nutshell is going to let you know that the pandemic has changed my motorcycling by allowing me to ride more, because in that video I talk a little bit about how I was actually furloughed from work, still am, which is pretty crazy, so I got a lot of free time on my hands. You know, roads were wide open. I was just getting out there a ton. I still am a lot, actually, obviously. So the pandemic really just allowed me to get out on the bike freely, not worrying about time, not worrying about schedules, not worrying about getting back anywhere. Like I said, I took that long road trip up to northwestern PA, back where my parents live. Without the pandemic, it would have, I would have still tried to accomplish a lot of those things, but you know, with timing, with work and things like that, I wouldn't have been able to do them as comfortably. So the pandemic has actually definitely given me much more time to actually do a lot of things with my bike that I wanted to do. Like, for example, some mods as well, threw some new pipes on there, some lights, different types of things. So that is how the pandemic changed my motorcycle riding. Thanks for that one, Scooterwolf. Make sure you check out his channel. So now we're going to throw out a couple nominations. Hopefully a couple dudes I got in mind for this one. I'll be interested to hear their thoughts. Hopefully they're interested in tackling these 7 questions. You guys might have an idea who's coming on this one. A couple of my dudes that you see interacting on a lot of my videos is going to be NevermoreMoto and IronBornRider. So if you guys are so inclined to go ahead and tackle these questions, I'm sure everybody out there, I know I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Everybody else will be out there interested to know your thoughts as well. So to recap, that's going to wrap it up. We just took on those 7 questions offered up by Quiet Man Rides. Make sure you check out his channel. I'm sure I'll be riding with him again soon. Took on a question from Scooterwolf. Got a couple nominations for NevermoreMoto and IronBornRider out there. See if they want to take those on. As always, make sure you stay safe out there, ride safe. Thanks again for tuning in. Like I said, we just hit that 100. Thanks to all the subscribers. If you enjoyed this video or any other video, make sure you like it, drop a comment down there, hit us with a subscribe. As always, it's the Moto John. We'll see y'all on down the road. Peace.